What does it take to create a vibrant, thriving life? First, the sad news is that Thoreau was right. Most people are leading quiet lives of desperation, lacking in meaning, fulfillment, and vitality. But we choose more. We choose to create extraordinary lives. And the Art of Vibrant Living show entertains you with inspiration, empowerment, and education to create your life into a masterpiece. It's time. Let's vibe up.
Aloha, y'all. Daniel Aaron here. I am your host, and this is the Art of Vibrant Living show. And yes, indeed, it's about entertaining you, though more important, it's about empowering you to live your most vibrant, thriving life. My suggestion, I implore you, you're going to get some gold today. Maybe literally gold. Certainly some gold gems, some things that you could say, ooh, that's a great idea. Don't just say it's a great idea. Apply it. Do something with it. Take one of the gems that Dr. Louise gives you and put it into your life. She is a phenomenal woman. My guest, Dr. Louise Swartswalter, is the founder of the Brain Soul Success System. She's an author in process, a speaker. She's created an amazing business, a teacher. She's founded a whole system. I'm so excited for y'all to be here with her. Dr. Louise, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. I'm excited to be with you today and all your listeners.
Yeah, good. Well, I want to jump right in because you had a phenomenal experience, your own challenge with autoimmune, and I mean, your health was at a real low, and I know that that's what birthed your Brain Soul Success System. What was that like? I mean, from what I understand, it was pretty severe. Is that right?
Yeah, I was dying. I mean, like I was a young mom. I had 2 kids at home, and I had a lot of fatigue, and I kept doctor hopping to try to figure out what was going on. And really, I had like bunch of labels. It was really a bunch of labels. But I was on oxygen. I had no front teeth. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't digest. I was sensitive to everything in the world. I had a ton of allergies, mold exposures. Didn't even know about the mold back then, but the labels were fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and MS. And my brain didn't work. And I was like, I'm like 32 years old and my brain doesn't work. I felt like I was getting Alzheimer's, and I was too young for that, right? So I ended up on this journey of really having to heal myself. And it was all natural health stuff that helped. And it took my family, even I moved them from Chicago to first Cuesta and then Taos, New Mexico, to live a cleaner lifestyle, no pesticides, all organic food, cleaner air. So back in Illinois, I was so sick when they were spraying for mosquitoes in our neighborhood that I became an activist and worked with the mayor to sue the state of Illinois, and we won. So I learned all about pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, all that stuff back then. We had 14 articles in the paper. I just remember being like so out of balance. And Daniel, I was so angry then. I was angry at what was happening. I was angry at the fact that kids were having asthma and didn't need to. So I was sort of like this, teacher, housewife person on a mission to change the world. And yet I still couldn't breathe and I wasn't healthy myself. So I had to get myself better first. So that was my first why, was just to be a mom to my kids. And so we moved to Taos, New Mexico, and I didn't have to have the oxygen tank anymore, and I could breathe, and I started getting better. And we hiked, and we saw sunsets, and, it was just amazing, beautiful rainbows when it rained. I felt like I had come to God's country. So it was a journey, and it took me about 16 years really to heal. And so years later, I was like, you know what? I think I know a lot of this stuff about natural health. I should just become a naturopathic doctor. I should just get the paper on the wall. That's how I did that. It's because I was like, I think I know a lot of this already. So I ended up going to naturopathic school, and then I got biofeedback programs, neurobiofeedback programs to help not just my brain, but my family and, all my friends. And that's actually how my business was born. I was a dyslexic therapist. I had been a special ed teacher, and all those kids, I would put them on the biofeedback program, and they started changing so quickly, so quickly. Their brains were different. They absorbed better. They were thinking clearer. Their clarity changed. Their ADHD, went away. All kinds of cool things happened. And then they brought their families. And that's how I actually started my first business, Albuquerque Natural Health Center. So I helped a lot of families here in Albuquerque. It was a brick and mortar business. I rented an office, then bought an office. It's a pretty long story, huh? Bought an office. And then I ended up moving back home. And about 10 years ago, I started Brain Soul Success, because what I really saw, even with my patients, was that working on the physical body and giving them supplements and changing diet and helping detox wasn't enough. They had emotions. They had spiritual things they were working on. And then I figured out that stuff starts in the energy field. And so I combined all those things together and found that when we work on the physical body and we work on the brain and we work on the spiritual body and we work on the emotions and we work on the energy field all at the same time, that's when things stick. And it doesn't have to take so long. And that's really how the brain system came to be, which spells B.R.A.I.N, right? It stands for B is body, taking care of your body. Okay, you're not going to be healthy or successful if you're, eating fast food every day, right? So it's taking care of your body, all those lifestyle things. And then R is releasing. We have to release the mental chatter, the emotional baggage, and even the ancestral programs that are keeping you stuck. And then A is aligned with spirit. So spirit, God, whatever your belief system is always a part of healing your life and up-leveling your life and having, continuing on your personal growth journey. And then I is integrating your brain frequencies to your soul's true purpose, having a purpose, knowing where you're going. I always liken it to like the GPS system in the car. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to be in circles, right? So we've got to have a purpose or a goal or be driven to do something. And I find that the people who are most passionate about life and are passionate about their work as an entrepreneur, they succeed, right? They succeed. N is the new program. And so the N is putting in a new program in your biocomputer. Your brain and your energy field is like a computer. And when we put the new program in and we take out all the trash and we do all those steps, that's when we see, again, the biggest results, biggest transformation. And the difference is it sticks. We don't have to spend years in therapy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, I got 486 questions based on everything you said. And first, though, 16 years, I think, is what you described your journey being, right?
Yeah.
And I imagine there just must have been so much challenge and heartbreak and struggle in the midst of that. If you had to choose one moment that was the turning point for you, and maybe it was a low point or when you hit a wall in some way, can you come up with one moment that was really crucial for you?
Probably when I decided to leave Illinois. I mean, I packed up my family, my 2 kids. We borrowed a friend's van. I had a station wagon. We packed up a van and a station wagon, moved cross country, drove cross. It was like a 4-day drive. It felt like, with the kids, because we stopped and stayed overnight places, and there were places I couldn't stay in, so we had to sleep in the car. I was really, really sick, and there were a lot of challenges. For sure. I think what it taught me, though, Daniel, is I didn't realize I was learning mindset work because I had to. Like if I didn't feel good and I was detoxing or I had a super bad headache or I was throwing up or whatever was happening, I would have to tell myself, this is just a space and time. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. And so I was teaching myself to stay positive, but I didn't know that back then. I just had to do it because I just had to do it, right? You do what you have to do. But I learned a ton along the way. So that was one turning point. Getting to Taos, New Mexico and being in clean air and seeing, we were here in the 1994, I think. And at that time, we still had the monsoons here. And the monsoons is where it rains in the afternoon. And after it rains, it dries up, the sun comes out, and you see double rainbows. So, like the first month we were here, first 2 months, we saw double rainbows at least 3 times a week. And I literally felt like I was in God's country, like I was, called in a sense to be in a new place and to start sort of a new chapter in our lives. And that definitely was a turning point.
Well, I love it. And I can imagine for you as, struggling just with your own health plus being a mother, how did you have the courage to make that move to pack up in a station wagon, a van? I mean, that must have taken a lot of guts at that point. How did you do that?
I don't know. Good question. I mean, I just know that I was not healthy there, and I couldn't breathe anymore, and I was sick of fighting pesticides and feeling like I was dodging them. So we even got an ordinance passed in my town when they were spraying the lawns, and then they were spraying the lawns with, Roundup, glyphosate, right? And it would make me so sick that I'd have to be on that oxygen tank. And so we had an ordinance passed in my town that they were supposed to notify me. And I would have to leave my area and go hang out in the forest preserves in the car with my kids. And I came home on a summer day, and it was 90 degrees and 99% humidity, and they were spraying a neighbor's lawn. And I ended up in almost like a panic attack and had to leave and called the fire department to come and put out that toxic chemical. And that, again, that was the day I decided to leave, because everywhere I went, there was chemicals. The median strip, they were spraying the median strip for the weeds. Okay, I went to a friend's house on the other side of town. She was not there. I knocked on the neighbor's door next door, and the neighbor next door said that, I'm not going to name the company, had come and sprayed her lawn without asking, and they've been sick ever since. I mean, people would call me and say, "Do you think my dog died because they just sprayed the lawn next door?" Yes. I had a woman who had 4 or 5 miscarriages call me and say, "Hey, do you think it's the golf course across the street?" And they were using a lot more chemical then than they are today, So I think we've learned some things, and yet I think there's more to learn. And I said, yes, I would move. I said, I think it'd be a good thing if you moved. And then I moved to New Mexico, and the miraculous thing, I mean, people are wonderful and amazing. She found me and called me like about 2 years later and said, "I just had to find you to thank you, because I did move in with my mom, who, lived like way across town in a whole nother suburb of the city. And I have a healthy baby boy now, and I want to thank you." Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I learned one person I was just one person with a big mouth because I was angry. And I made, you can make a difference.
Well, absolutely. One
Yeah.
of my greatest heroes is Martin Luther King Jr. And there was a interview with him shortly after Brown versus Board of Education, which was, for those who don't know, that was when segregation became illegal in the schools. Finally the courts said, you know what, black children and white children, they must go to the same school, right? That was the language we used at that point. And the interviewer said, "Dr. King, is it really the case that so many people just have this hatred and animosity toward the Negro?" Actually, that was the term that was being used then. And Dr. King thought about it for a moment, and he said, "No, it's just that there are a lot of people who don't speak, who don't speak up about what they care about." Right? So I love that you had the courage to do that, right? And at some risk to yourself. And okay, so I want to move on because as you described the 5 letters of the brain system, release is something that's really caught my attention. They're all interesting. We could talk for an hour about each one of those letters. Release, though, is something that, in my observation and work, is often missing in a lot of, for a lot of people that want to create results in their life. So I'm curious,
Mhm.
how did that part come about for you? And can you take us deeper into it? What does it mean to you, that release part?
Yeah, that's really, really good question. Releasing is releasing that trauma,
Mm.
right? So what I found is traumas get stuck. The emotions connected to a trauma get stuck in the spaces of the brain. And then it acts almost like a little tape recorder or record player, and then you perseverate on it, and it actually creates more of a obsessive kind of pattern, and then you call in the same thing. So when that pattern of there, so as an example, let's just say it's a pattern of abuse in a family. Okay, you were abused as a child, and then you find out that the person's father or mother was also abused, and it's a family line thing. Well, if we don't clear that on the energetic level and clear all those layers of the family line problem of abuse, it's going to keep lingering. And so I found we had to clear that. Also, it could be a trauma in your own life. Um, it's really based on some work that's actually very scientific. Dr. Hamer was a German doctor that discovered that trauma causes illness. And what happened in his life was his son was shot at age 17 and died. And 3 months later, he ended up with testicular cancer. And he said to himself, it must be the losing my son, the grief, that trauma that caused my cancer. I was healthy before. What I liked about the work that he did, because I'm a brain expert, I love the brain. He took SPECT scans of people's brains, of his own brain, and found the lesion. And wherever that lesion was, that was the trauma of the grief, right? The shock of losing his son. And then he worked on clearing the trauma, and then he'd take pictures again of the brain, and the lesion would be gone. So what he did was he created whole big charts of different types of illnesses, cancers. He was mostly working with cancer, and he would find that they had similar it stinks moments, similar shock trauma moments. Like esophageal cancer is not being able to swallow a morsel. And it could be related to anything, in your childhood or something, or you were choking or whatever. And so he kept finding similar things. And so it's incredible work. Well, I figured out intuitively how to go into the brain. This is all intuition and energy work, and clear those out.
That's amazing. I love that. And it
Mhm.
really points to the mystery that there's so many components to what goes into this human spirit system.
Yes.
So yeah, and I love that you bring in that the scientific aspect of it as well. Okay.
Mhm.
So then let's look at the other side of that. If I remember your system correctly, the N is for new programming. Is that right?
Yes. And so, what you have to do is, if you really want to heal, and it's not necessarily for health, it's healing anything, it's healing a business, it's clearing energy around selling a home. So it can be used for anything. The brain system could be used for anything. And I use it with entrepreneurs now to help them up level their businesses and clear out all the old traumas so they can, be 100% their soul's truth and reach that level they want to reach. So the new program piece is actually rewiring and rebooting your brain and your entire energetic field with your desire, your goal, what you want now. Yeah, let's just say you want more clients, or you want to make more money in your business, or you want to make a bigger impact, you want to finish your book, right? You want to get on more stages, you want to speak more, whatever it is. If there's things that are blocking, we have to release the stuff that's blocking and then rewire with your goal. That's the new program.
Fantastic. I love it. And I love that your system is so holistic and integrative, right? And the
Mhm.
foundation of my work, The Art of Vibrant Living, is based on the premise that in order to have a vibrant, thriving life, we need to be moving toward mastery on all levels, from physical to emotional to spiritual to financial, all of it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, because we're whole people. We can't take us apart.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. So
Yeah.
what's, I know, well, let me not preface this. Where's it going for you? Like, what's your
Mhm.
vision? I have the sense that your work is really ramping up. You're reaching more people. What are you
Yes.
what are you creating now?
Yes, I'm creating a new event. It's called the Success Codes. I've never done this before. I like creating. It's a half day. I've not done a half day before. I've done a lot of master classes. I've done 3-day events. I've had 19 3-day events.
Hmm.
So both in-person retreats and then online. And I love doing that because I'm a teacher. That's my background, right? So I love teaching, I love sharing, and I also love transformation. Like if I have a room of people, it's hard even me to be with you. I know I have to do a demo because I want you to transform. Like I can't even be with people without that happening. It's just a passion of mine. So where it's going is by 2030, I think I want to change 10 million brains.
Okay, 10 million brains. I love
10
it.
million brains by 2030. And the way I'm doing that is by teaching other people so that then they
Hmm.
can share it, right? It's the fish in the sea concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a few different people in our audience. Some that are gonna be tuned into this live, in which case they're going to be chomping at the bit, saying success codes. What'd she say? Success codes. When is this half day? The
Mhm.
inaugural run of it. What's the date and time for that?
Yeah. So it's June 18th and it's from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So it's like late afternoon. So Eastern time, I know you're on Eastern time now. It'll be 4 o'clock to 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6, 7, 4 to 8. So 4 to 8 Eastern time.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we're going to deep dive in to learning some success codes as well as doing some clearings. My favorite 5-minute hack called Mind Gems that just literally takes 5 minutes to do, but can really help clear you of just negative thoughts and help you be more clear, help you be more focused. It can help people sleep. So I love that little brain hack. So we're going to learn a lot of the brain hacks and those codes.
Beautiful. Okay, I love it. So and we'll talk about, for anybody that's watching or hearing this on a recording later and they've missed that event, there are going to be other ways to connect with you because you're always creating more opportunities. So we'll get to that part. But for those that are able to join that event, what's the way? How do they find out more or get it registered?
Yeah, you can go to louiseswartswalter.com. I'll give you the actual link, but it's on my homepage. So I think it's louiseswartswalter.com / probably the success codes.
Okay, well we can include the
Yeah.
exact link in the comments
Hmm.
here. That's great. Um, okay, and success codes, mind gems, hacks.
Hmm.
It sounds to me like there's a lot of very practical stuff that you are doing. And you
Hmm.
mentioned wanting to give an example of that. Is that something that you want to do that we
Yeah,
can
I would
make it
love
more
to. I would
clear?
love to dive in and do like a little, I guess, a little demo of some of the releasing technique, and then also the codes. Yeah,
Okay,
and it's
great, great.
can I use you as a surrogate for your audience for all the people here?
Certainly, I'm at your disposal.
Okay, okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a goal or an intention, Daniel. So if I asked you the question and I said, Daniel, what do you want to have change or be different? Like, give me a sentence about that.
Okay, so you mean for me personally, or for people in
It
the
can be for
audience?
you personally, or it can be for your like audience, people you're thinking of that you work with.
Okay,
Something that would resonate.
well, I think we could go for both because right now I'm in the process of creating my next book, and I'm doing it in a different way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's part of what I'm doing for that is taking a certain amount of time away from what I think of as my normal business operations. And so part
Mm-hmm.
of me in that process is saying, well, I'm not doing some of these things that generate more income. And I know that that's okay and good, but there's a part of me that is unwinding, shall we say, from that. And I suspect that there are many people in our audience because people are here because they want a more vibrant, thriving life. And
Right.
while money isn't everything, as Jim Rohn said, it ranks right up there with oxygen. And for a lot of people that I encounter, having more income means being able to take care of themselves better physically, being able to invest more in training and learning and retreats, and and really to
Mhm.
have a higher quality of life. So I think what could be different for all of us that would be useful toward vibrancy is greater income and abundance.
Okay, okay, then let's write that. So I'm just going to write this down. I have greater income and abundance. Can we say in all areas of your life?
100%, absolutely.
Yeah. So in all areas of life, right? So whatever that is for each person here and for you. So if you had greater income and abundance in all areas of your life, what would change or be different as a result of that?
Hmm. Well, certainly, I would have more ease of investing in the ways that allow me to reach more people, whether that be designers or printers or marketing partners. Um, I would have more ease in stepping away from some of the business operations in order to be more engaged in the creative time, what I think of as the Kairos time, the creation
Mm-hmm.
of the book, the writing phase. And I believe from that comes a greater quality of work that has a greater impact.
Okay. So you're having time to write the book and make a greater impact. To write the book, make and so if all these things are happening, what would you tell yourself then you're not telling yourself now?
What would I tell myself then that I'm not telling myself now?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that comes to me is that it's a wise and generous step to move away from some of those activities in order to be able to support and reach more people. So good on you.
Mm, okay, great. It's a wise and generous step to be able to reach more people. Good on you. Yay, you're celebrating yourself, right?
Hmm,
Yes,
hmm,
to
hmm.
reach more people. So if you're telling yourself, good on you and you're able to reach more people now and you're stepping away with ease from those other operations in your business and you have more ease in how you're reaching more people and you have greater income and abundance in all areas of your life, how would all that make you feel?
Oh, so happy, joyous, energized, excited, grateful.
Awesome. Joyous, energized, and grateful. So then what I do with those is I take those bottom line goals, happy, joyous, energized, grateful, being able to have that greater income, right? Stepping away from the things that, you know, are going to pull you away from writing that book right now and being able to really tell yourself, good for you. I've got this. And then I put all that in a box and it's just so I'm just drawing a box on a paper here.
Hmm, hmm.
And so this is you feeling happy, joyous, grateful, having that greater income and abundance. We're in the abundance class right now in my tribe, and I got to tell you, it's kicking butt this year. Goodness gracious. It's all about properties. I don't know what's happening. We're selling properties like I'm clearing the energy. I'm doing what I'm doing with you,
Hmm.
okay, on a property. And a woman sold her $1 million house for $350,000 more. There were bidding wars. Somebody else sold a house for $10,000 more. Somebody has a bar that's under contract right now. And then we've had other kinds of abundance. Somebody got a tax return for $2,000 and sold their car. So we are creating abundance, and I'm holding intention for you and everyone listening as we're doing this. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. And so this is the ease of stepping away from that and being able to write your book and having that abundance in all areas of your life. Okay. Then I ask and I say, okay, who or what is pulling you away from that? And I am intuitively muscle testing. So I'm going into the energy field and I'm figuring out what are those little blocks that are in the way. And I get like there's two strings. And so there's two strings. And I just draw two strings off the box. Okay? And then I'm just going to find the word. So it's the truth will set you free. So that first situation, what is that first situation for Daniel? Is it a male, female, or a situation? It's a situation. Is it recent or old? It's an old situation. When you were a kid, yes, age 0 through 5, 5 through 10, 5, 6, something when you were 6. So if this is something when you were 6, is it something with you alone, or is it something with you and your mom, or you and your dad? So this is something with dad's energy in your field when you were 6. So is this you and dad, or is it just dad's energy? When we're little, oftentimes we take on our parents' stuff. So this is your dad's energy when you were about 6 in your energy field, and we just have to clear that. So I just want to ask you, when you were little, was dad around? What do you remember about your dad when you were 5, 6, 7?
Well, that was several years after my parents were divorced. So I think at that point, I would see my father every other weekend. And
Okay.
there was a lot of worry from my mother because my father drank a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I would see him occasionally, and a lot of that time he was heavily drinking.
Okay, so that's probably why this came up, because we want to clear that, because you're up leveling your life right now.
Hmm.
Um, well, I got the word lost.
Hmm.
So he was lost.
Hmm.
And so these are the words in the field: lost, vulnerability. First, I named the negative words: rejection. You might have felt rejection
Hmm.
as a little guy, right? Only getting to see dad part of the time. There's conflict, rejection, vulnerability, lost. Are there entities in the field? No. What else is there? Let me see. 1, 2. And I'm looking at word lists.
Hmm.
So I have like word lists and I test them. Shame. There's shame. Usually what I see with alcoholics is they have shame and guilt,
Hmm.
about their problem. Powerless. So powerlessness. And off balance. So that energy, and then we say, was that a liar, thief, or fraud? And I get thief. And these came from John 10:10 in the Bible, and they clear the brain and the soul. So I said, okay, if that's a thief, what did it do? Did it kill, steal, or destroy? It stole something. What did it steal? Your peace, your hope, your love. So we're getting back peace, we're getting back hope, we're getting back love, harmony, vision of what you thought would be, success, and your vindication. Awesome. So I'm just going to say another little clearing statement. So I destroy and uncreate any judgments, assumptions, projections, conclusions, decisions about the situation at age 6 with your dad, and any of the energy that's still in your field. We release that now, let it go, allow you to be free, to be 100% your soul's truth, right? To have that greater income and abundance in all areas of your life, to feel happy, to feel joyous, and feel grateful and energized. Good and bad, right and wrong, pot and pock, online shorts, boys and beyonds. That's called access consciousness. It's another type of clearing. So I didn't make that up. It's a statement. I know it doesn't sound like it, makes sense. It's just a clearing statement to clear energy. Um, and as we're doing that, I just want to ask you, are you seeing a picture in your mind at all? Like, do you visualize you with dad when you were 6, or your mom's worry about you going to see dad?
I did have an image, yeah. And when you said lost, part of what came to me is I hadn't really thought of it this way, but I imagine for my father who had been, he'd lived with his own biological family, his mother and sister, and then he was married to my mother for whatever that was, 19 years. And then the
Mm-hmm.
image that came to me was he was living in like a little basement apartment, and I remember going to visit him there, and it didn't have a feeling to me like it was a home, and it never occurred to me that maybe in part of the reason for that was that he never knew anything about creating a home, and maybe he didn't feel at home, and maybe he did feel lost at that point in his life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the reason I asked you if you see a picture is because those pictures are what creates those little cellular memory bumps in the brain.
Hmm.
And we've got to release the picture so that you can, I mean, it's not, it still happened. We can't take that away, but it's taking the charge off of it in a sense so that it frees you up to be 100% you, your
Hmm.
soul's truth. And this is called EMDR. A lot of therapists use this. So I'm just going to have you picture that scene that you see with your, dad in the basement and you there too. And it doesn't feel like a home, and maybe you're picking up because you're, an intuitive little kid and you're
Hmm.
picking up his lost energy
Hmm.
because we have to find you 100% for you to create this next book,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I want you just to picture that for a second, Daniel. And as you're seeing that in your mind's eye, keep your head straight, but your peripheral vision is going to follow my fingers.
Hmm.
Okay, while you see that image, and you bring up the emotions you felt at that time. So we're going to kind of go from one side. And if you're listening or you're watching this, you guys can do this too. And then look up to the ceiling and down to the floor, and then to the right side of the floor and down, and then to the left, and then come back to center, and then circle your eyes like you're going around a clock. So you're just going to circle your eyes around the clock, and then the other way, counterclockwise. Good job. Should be like a little lighter or almost fuzzier.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Is it a little fuzzier?
The image, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Then this next one is a situation too. Is this recent or old? It's another old situation. Is this old situation something with Daniel? Yeah. Something in your lifetime? Yes. Something a little older? Something younger? Something even younger? Is this womb energy? No. Is it age 1, 2, 3? It's age 3. So this is age 3. So age 3, is this age 3 with dad or age 3 with mom? I think it's with your mom. So this is mom. So is this you taking on her energy, or is this both of you? This is both of you when you were 3. Um, and where were you? Like, did you have brothers and sisters?
I did have some brothers and sisters, yeah.
And were you the youngest? Oh, where were you?
I was the baby, so much younger that in a few years later I was an only child in a sense.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
were the
yeah,
youngest. Okay.
yeah.
So you're age 3. So that means there's brothers and sisters who are older, probably
Hmm.
in the home. And then the word that I got in the field was negativity, burdened. And again, these could be moms.
Hmm.
And you're picking them up because she's got kids to take care of. And was she a single parent then too?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, yeah. So busy woman. Um, old sadness, overwhelm, unsupported. And I got panic. Liar, thief. That's a thief. What did it kill, steal, or destroy? Stole your peace, your comfort, your prosperity, your security. So we're regaining your peace, regaining your comfort, regaining your prosperity, and regaining your security and your confidence, another level of confidence, and your triumph. Awesome. Do we reclaim that? Yes. So I destroy and uncreate any judgments, assumptions, projections, conclusions, decisions about anything that happened when you were around age 3 and anything in your mom's energy field then that has, affected you. We release that now, let it go, allow you to be free, to be happy, to have that greater income and more abundance in all areas of your life, to feel happy and joyous and energetic and grateful, and be able to take the time to write your book and be able to tell yourself, good for you. Good and bad, right and wrong, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yay. Awesome. Did we get it? Yeah. Okay. Um, so we kind of took out the yucky stuff, right? We took out the trash. That's the releasing part. Now we want to integrate you with these goals or intentions. And this is the part that looks a little funny because these are codes in the field. And I call them the success codes. They were given to me by my teacher, Dorothy, years ago. And she created whole like integrations that worked on different parts of the brain and worked on the energy field. And she got the codes, I think, originally from the Bible. I don't know. I can't tell you how all this has come. People ask all the time, Daniel. They're like, "Where do those come from? Wow, how can I find those?" And that's why I have to have a class to share at least the beginning ones with all of you. But we're going to have you say your intentions, and then I'm going to circle my hand around you. So I'm coning my fingers and I'm doing a circle. They're called spin points. So they're in the field instead of an acupuncture point. They're in the energy field. So that's how you can think of them. So I'll have you say these. Say, I have greater income
I have greater income
and abundance in all areas of my life.
and abundance in all areas of my life.
Nice. I have more ease
I have more ease
in the ways that to reach more people.
in the ways to reach more people.
And I have more ease in stepping away from my business operations.
And I have more ease in stepping away from my business operations.
And I have time to write the book.
And I have time to write the book.
And I tell myself it is wise
And I tell myself it is wise
and a genius step to be able to step away.
and a genius step to be able to step away.
Okay. And to be able to reach more people with this book.
And to be able to reach more people with this book.
And I tell myself, good for you.
And I tell myself, good for you.
And I feel happy and joyous,
And I feel happy and joyous,
excited and grateful.
excited and grateful.
Awesome. And now we're going to integrate those with the codes. Okay. So the first thing I'll have you do is just balance your polarity in your body. So your right hand is going to go on your left shoulder and your left on your right shoulder. And so we're crossed in front of our body and we're just going to hold this for 12 seconds. And we're balancing like yin and yang, right and left, masculine, feminine. It's one of the mind gems. It's one of these brain hacks. And then we switch. So the other arm goes on top. And while we're doing this, just be thinking again, you're allowing, right, this greater abundance and income. And for you to create this amazing book. Okay, then you can rest your hands. Then I'm going to do these circles. And I'm going down the left leg first. So I'm saying 2, 3, love. 5, 3, forgiveness. 6, 5, choice. 9, 2, freedom. 4, 2, greater love. Then we're going to come down your front. 4, 2. I think I'll have you say these. Say, I have positive self-worth.
I have positive self-worth.
Good. 2, 2. Say, I choose to succeed.
I choose to succeed.
Good. 4, 4. I choose to live in joy.
I choose to live in joy.
And 6, 2. I choose to live by the higher laws.
I choose to live by the higher laws.
Excellent. Then I'm going to do some extra ones on you. 1, 4, 7 on your back side. I'm balancing the ring around the brain that goes this way. Then I'm going to have you look at my X. And I'm going to do the code 4, 5. So I'm balancing the ring around the brain that goes this way. So the energetic brain. Okay. Then 9, 6 is the consciousness ring. Over the top of your head, 9, 6 is the cranial ring. 8, 6 is the hearing ring. 6, 8 is the seeing ring. 3 to 9, 26 complete cycles. 5,859 times is the ring to all the rings. 2 to 8, 23 complete cycles. 2,623 times is the vibrational reset for emotions. 375, 377, 45, 86, 469, 467, releasing trauma. 10, 5, 7, 8, 2, 8, 7, 7, 5, and the shock 1, 2, 3. On the back side, replacing this with peace, 5, 2. Then we're going to balance all the chakras, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Yay! Did you feel the wind?
I felt like a lot was moving. Yeah, beautiful.
A lot of energy moving. So let's say that bottom one again and lock this in. So I'm going to have you say, I feel happy and joyous.
I feel happy and joyous.
excited and grateful.
Excited and grateful.
And I have greater income and abundance in all areas of my life.
And I have greater income and abundance in all areas of my life.
Awesome. And then we're going to lock in all those goals and intentions. So the way we do that is we put our hands together above our head. And so if I was with you, I would try to pull your arms down in front of you and you just stay strong. So it's called a lock. It locks it in. And then I'll have you cone your fingers on your right hand. So put like a little wand together on your right hand and then make a circle in front of your heart and say 2-2.
2-2.
I choose to succeed.
I choose to succeed.
Good job. And then tap your belly button 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that locks in that process that we just did. Yay.
Cool.
How do you feel?
I feel great, excited. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Your face changed. I usually do before and after pictures. We can see you on video though. But we do show those because they look so different after that process. It like takes all that stress away. That started when you were a little kid, and those were important for you because this is all the negativity and the belief patterns of your family that are not you. They're not yours.
Well, and thank you. And let me check with you, Louise, because when we started that process, you asked about me being a proxy for the audience. And so I assume that 2 things. One, that what you just did for me and what shifted in me extends out to others. And also I assume that because we're well aware of quantum physics, that that energetic work travels across space and time. Is there anything you can say about those things?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually when I do this, a lot of times people will say, oh yeah, that was my mom. Or, oh yeah, that was my dad. In other words, there's usually resonance in the energy field. So it may not be the exact situation or maybe not the exact same age, but if the words were similar, it will clear you too. So if you're listening here, even though I was picking up what's going on in Daniel's field, right, it oftentimes energetically is also, across the board for a whole lot of people. So they're going to feel different too. And actually, I'd love to know that. So if you have listeners who, could answer that question or respond and just go, yeah, hey, I watched the show and I felt different, or, let us know. Let us know.
Okay, well, that's probably perfect timing and a great segue because time is ticking along for us. So what is the best way for people to reach you, Dr. Louise?
Yeah, at my website, louiseswartswalter.com. I'm also on, Facebook and Instagram. And my email is louise@louiseswartswalter.com. So you're welcome to email me as well. And invite you all to the success codes coming up. I'm super excited about that event that we've got coming up because you're going to learn some of this. So then you have the tools yourself. Because, Daniel, God helps those who help themselves. So it's learning the tools, right, for ourselves. So that's why we're doing that. So that's coming up, and that's also on the website.
Perfect. Okay, and will you remind us of the date?
Yeah, so that's June 18th. So it's June 18th, and it is for Eastern time. It'll be 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And we will take a break there in the middle. But I want to give you guys everything we possibly can in that amount of time.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And I believe that you kindly offered a free gift for our audience. Is that true?
Yes. I like to give my brain soul assessment. So it's an opportunity to speak with myself or a success coach so we can find out what your biggest block is. What are some of those releasing things you need to do? And what are your next steps in really creating, your successful, your vibrant life?
Beautiful. Okay. So that's a kind and generous gift. And what's the way for people to take advantage of that?
And we'll give you the link for that. But again, it's on the website and it says Brain Soul Assessment. So if you go to louiseswartswalter.com, it's there too. And if you could include that link in the show notes, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Happy to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and as we wind down, Louise, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to bring forward?
No, I can't think of anything. It's been just delightful to be with you. I'm really excited for all of your people to up-level their lives, right? To live a very healthy, vibrant life. and clear anything that's in the way of that, right? And make that happen for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, well then that brings us to the last question I have for you. It's the big question, so big that there's no possibility of answering it, which means you can't fail. So, if you're up for it, here's the question. You've got so much experience and such a broad knowledge base among so many things. If you had to distill all of that down to one thing, just had one thing to say to help our audience to live their most vibrant, thriving life, what is that one thing?
I always end with this one. I like this one. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you.
I love it. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you. Spoken
Yes.
as the founder of the Brain Soul Success System. And Louise, thank you so much. Not only for kindly and generously investing this time here with us today, but also for your courage and the work you've done. Those 16 years of struggle and your persistence in overcoming that, and then knowing that there's something for you to give to the world and developing that, and that's quite a journey. So thank you so much for who you are and all that you're doing for us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, it's my passion. It's my gift. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the work that you're doing with people and creating their vibrant life as well. All the good work you've done, Daniel. So thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. All right, and for y'all in our audience, thank you. Holy moly, you are the heroes of this program. I love that you're here, that you're invested in creating more vibrance and thriving in your life. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you soon. I love you. Aloha.
Mahalo for tuning in to the Art of Vibrant Living show, y'all. I'm Daniel Aaron, and may you live with great vibrancy.